Yes. Okay.
9:05, and I call the court to order. Quorum is present. All legal notices have been posted, and the court is now duly called. Can I get a motion to adjourn the court for the May term?
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to adjourn for the May term. And readiness. All those in favor, let it be known by the usual sign of voting.
Aye.
Those who oppose, same sign. Chair is in the affirmative. Can I get a motion to open the court for the June term?
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to open the court for the June term. Any other readiness? All those in favor, let it be known by the usual sign of voting.
Aye.
Those who oppose, same sign. The chair is in the affirmative. Will the bailiff please open the court?
All rise. Dallas County Commissioner Court is now in session for the month of June 2014 term with Honorable Judge Jenkins presiding. Please remain standing for invocation.
Today, the guest for the invocator is a guest of Commissioner Mike Cantrell.
Commissioners, Senior Minister Reverend Fester Coffee Prose from St. Andrew's Christian Church was our invocator today. She had a family emergency. They had a family emergency, and Major Victram is going to come forward and do our invocation. I appreciate Vic stepping in and bailing me out.
Good morning, Commissioners, and also to Judge Jenkins in his absence. I'd just like to read from Proverbs 3, chapter 5, verse 6 and 7. It says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Be not wise in thine own eyes. Fear the Lord, and depart from evil. It shall be health to thy navel, and marrow to thy bones." Let us pray. Dear Lord Jesus, we thank you, O God, for this time that we could come. And Father, to bless this Commissioner's Court. Father, we ask you to continue to be with each and every one of them, God, as they deliberate over the public's business. God, we thank you right now that you will, as they take time out, oh God, to invite you to your presence to be in this place. God, we ask you to rest, rule, and abide right now in your precious name. Father, we ask not only do you come and rest in this place, this room, oh God, but we ask that you rest on their hearts, so that, God, they might know you, and, God, they might be able to work together as one. Father, we ask that you continue to bless them so that they might be able to not only serve this community, but also, God, we ask that you bless them so that they might be able to lead this county government. God, thank you, God, for each and every one of them so that they might be able to continue to do those things that are a blessing to this entire community. Father, even now we ask that you bless this county government under their leadership. God, that we might be able to do those things that will be a blessing to the community, oh God, for not only for this year, but also, God, for many years to come. Father, we ask you to continue to watch over them so that they might be able to look at things from a diversity of perspectives, but God, they might be able to dwell together in the spirit of unity, that for the good of this community, they might be able to flow together as one. Thank you, oh God, that you might continue to not only bless them, but bless their families, as their families sacrifice while they basically spend time serving the people. And let it be so. In the precious name of Christ Jesus we pray. Amen.
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 Thank you, Vic.
First of all, welcome to this session of the Dallas County Commissioners Court. We will be taking those matters that have been previously briefed to this court that are part of the docket today, and then subsequently we will brief matters to be taken up in a subsequent session. H on the agenda today posted are the resolutions. The first resolution is Commissioner Mike Cantrell.
Commissioners, we have a resolution today for Shannon Brown. If I can have her come up to the podium, as well as the family that's with her and all the friends. And on behalf of the Commissioners Court, Shannon, we did place some flowers at your place today in your honor. And I'll read the resolution and then move its adoption. Whereas on June 3rd, 2014, Shannon Brown will leave Dallas County after having served the public for over 18 years, first in the budget office, then as the purchasing director, the interim county administrator, the assistant county administrator, and finally again as the purchasing director. And whereas during this time she has been directly responsible for many of the county's critical operations, from the procurement of the goods and services that keep Dallas County functioning on a daily basis, to the oversight of multi-million dollars of construction building projects, and to the monitoring and evaluation of the budgets of some of the county's largest departments. And whereas her greatest contribution to the county, however, has been the grace, the cheerfulness, the tireless devotion, and the integrity which she has brought to us each and every day, and yet for all of her abilities and accomplishments, if you were to ask Shannon what is the most important to her and what she is the most proud of, she would instantly smile and say her husband David and her children Grace and Sam. And whereas when Shannon delivered the invocation at the beginning of a recent Commissioners Court meeting, she encouraged us to appreciate those things that are true, noble, right, pure, lovely, admirable, excellent, and praiseworthy, which also just happens to describe the Shannon we at Dallas County have come to know and appreciate. Now therefore be it resolved that the Dallas County Commissioners Court gratefully recognizes Shannon Brown for the genuineness, the generosity, and the selflessness, the intellect, and the professionalism that she has consistently shared with us over the past 18 years, and sincerely wishes her the best as she continues what we know will be a very successful career, and I so move.
Second. Roger as the chair, and before I yield, I'll yield.
All right, and all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
And Mr. Martin, before you, I'm sure, want to say something, we just really couldn't, Commissioner Cantrell positioned on me before I could do the resolution, so therefore, it's kind of like Shannon moving when I drew Sunnyvale into my district. She moved out, moved down. She's been running, but that's okay. Shannon, we can't say enough about your value to this institution, and you constantly hear me talking about institutional memory. But it's one thing to have institutional memory, but it's another thing to have provided great institutional value. You have all the memory in the world. I think there was somebody in the Bible called Methuselah, and he was around for 900 years, and then I didn't hear anything else. He was just around. But you brought value. Most of the court, with the exception of Commissioner Cantrell, is not going to remember the CASA evaluation and what that did for not only the management of this court, but what it did for a number of children. And that whole CASA piece made all the difference in the world in terms of how we managed and entered into that contract, with CASA. And then today, there was a guy named Phil Sheps. I don't know where he came from, but anyway, there was another guy named Ryan Brown. And the two of you worked together to do something called the Judicial Management Report, which we still utilize today to talk about how we manage, again, the people's business from day to day with regards to the court. 60% of what we do is criminal justice. And without that management report, we would not know how people are performing or what they're doing or what the costs generated are. And then there was something called the South Tower. We renamed it after Susan B. K's, after we got rid of the old Ford Motor Company gift from the state. And you jumped in and really helped to manage that process. So we had a lot of lessons learned, and the most difficult was a contractor wherein we retained about $250,000 to his chagrin, but we made it all work. That was the project where Texas Commission of Jail Standards walked out the front door, and somebody called the Department of Justice, walked in the other door. And so we just got handed off. Then there was another project called Swiss. That whole institute, we thought we had a nice building over there. We thought we were ready to move in the building, and something happened. There was something called security. And we dispatched you. And you went in and did what you usually do. You help us bridge to be able to get to occupy that building. And that was quite an undertaking. And of course, that brings us to where we took the tour yesterday on the Dallas County Medical Mod. I will announce to the court that based on what we saw yesterday, we're about 70% complete with regards to that facility. We're building a 300-bed, medium-sized hospital inside a facility. And while we've had a number of setbacks in terms of that particular issue, Shannon has helped navigate us to this point with the GMP to date, and it's been difficult, but it's been real cost savings, to the taxpayer. And so I just want to say that, I know we're proud of the way you diversified that purchasing staff. I think the only reason you're leaving is you thought I was going to ask in the budget session that Parkland return that authority that we handed off to them back to us. That's our authority. But Shannon, you made a mark different, and I know it's been difficult. But we just I want to say on behalf of a tenured member of this court, thank you, because I realize, like I say, not only the value you've had in the institution, but the value that the citizens have gained as a result of your day in and day out. So.
And Shannon, before Darrell says something, you're a member of a very small, select group here in Dallas County, a group of individuals that I consider to be the brain trust of Dallas County, and that knowledge and experience is going to be sorely missed. Your personality, your integrity, your honesty, and your work ethic is something that's going to be, it has been such a blessing to Dallas County. We're going to miss that. David, just so you know, I sold all of my stock in Nordstrom's. When she told me she was leaving, I figured I didn't need that anymore. Hopefully, for those of you who don't know Shannon, when she gets stressed, she heads straight to Nordstrom's and buys shoes or a handbag. So I hope not too many of those pairs of shoes have my name on them. But you're going to be missed, and we appreciate all that you've done. Good luck, and wish you best.
Mr. Martin.
If I could just say something on behalf of all the leadership in Dallas County. You sort of know a legacy of a person by the comments that people make about you. And when people started hearing that Shannon was leaving, I started getting floods of emails from department heads and other people in the county just saying, oh no, what are we going to do? She's that much loved and respected in Dallas County. I've only been mad at Shannon twice in the 5 years that I've been here. She's been here 18. I've worked with her for 5. And I've only been angry with her twice. The first time is when she told me she didn't want to be assistant county administrator anymore. She wanted to go back to being purchasing director. But I did forgive you for that. And the reason why I did forgive her, because she was still in the fold. She was still part of the county. So I still was able to access her. And, poor Shannon, I access her 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And the interesting thing about her is when I do send those emails at those odd hours, she responds. But the second time I was mad was when she handed me this letter a couple of weeks ago saying that she was going to resign. I don't think I can forgive you for that one. I forgave you the first time, and I don't think I'm going to forgive you for this one. But I do wish, on behalf of all the leadership in Dallas County, wish her the sincere best. She has been such a valued asset for Dallas County, and she will be sorely missed here. We wish her well. She's going to be working from home with her husband, and I told her husband, if things get tough, send her back. On behalf of, again, the leadership in Dallas County, we wish you well, we love you, and we will miss you.
If I can, I do want to introduce a couple of folks there. Some of them have already been named and some of them haven't. My husband, David, that many of you have met. My children, Grace Brown and Sam Brown. They will be 12 years old in a week from today. David and I will be married 22 years, 10 days from today. So we're very happy about that. I'm also very fortunate to have my mother and father here today, Sue and Randy Scott. They attend everything that I do and always have, and that's part of a part of who I am, and I think a part of the way that I am. So I'm very happy to have them here. And most importantly, I want to make sure that you all know who the folks are here in the purchasing department that are here for you, the court, and also for the departments to work for them. And they're my other family standing right back here. And we're so proud of them, and so proud of how the department has grown in the last several years, because I do think that their focus has really become wanting to be the place where you want to go for help instead of the place where you're just dreading to have to talk to. And that's what we want to accomplish over there. So I've said this is a hard decision, but it can still be a good decision and the right decision for me, and that's where I am. And it feels really good, but it is bittersweet. I look around the room today at some of the folks that are here, came over to see me, and I think about conversations we've had. And sometimes those conversations, we say things like, wow, you can't make this stuff up. We're talking about county business, and it's hard to believe that we are actually, really, that happened?
You're really talking about members of the court, but go ahead.
We're having those conversations, and it is true that truth can be stranger than fiction sometimes. But the truth is really that it is these people here in Dallas County, and I like to call us the best kept secret, because a lot of folks in the community, oh, you work for the county. Well, I've got this pothole that needs. No, that's not us. But I enjoy telling people what the county does do, and I think that's going to continue to be my mission, is to make sure people understand what the county does do, and they do it because of the people that are here every single day making a difference. And I am so thankful for this day, but I want you all to know about the wonderful people that you have that are still here, that are working for the county and working for you, the court, and working for the citizens every single day. And I hope that you will cherish them and show them as much appreciation as you can. I hear there's a little discussion going on around the county about something associated with my leaving, and I wanted to put that in, clear that up for you all. If you had 6 in the pool of how many pairs of shoes did Shannon have to take out of her office when she cleaned, 6 was the correct answer. And I don't think it's a coincidence that when I went back and looked, there have been 6 different iterations of this court. So I think that there's probably some correlation between those numbers.
Symmetry.
I think that's how those work together. But thank you all very much. And I'm here today and have really, again, I want to mention this staff behind me here is ready to keep working and keep working for all of you. So thank you very much.
You do want a picture with us, right? And I would love to see the shoes of this court.
You really don't. In fact, I didn't think the shoes would get any worse from the last court.
I still like to see them.
He wore his nice shoes today.
Yeah, come on. I'm a little scared.
I just think, I think y'all don't want to be in the black man's district. Go ahead on.
You have a house in Holland Park, don't you?
grandfather.
Yeah, I got part of Highland Park, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations. Yeah, I'd like Mr. to say.
No, it's just low.
Oh, okay. I don't think about bringing my battery, my charge over here, because I charge mine up before.
It's nice.
Had it in bed the other night. You got it. Get a flashlight and get under there.
Do you have the charger? You basically bring the charger and you just plug it up there.
Oh, okay. I just,
Because these are hot now.
yeah, when I get here, I look up, oh my God. So that's what I turned it on.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. And Commissioner Garcia has a resolution as well.
Thank you, Judge, colleagues, members of the audience. Next item is a resolution for the LGBT Pride Month. And I'm going to ask all the members, Ms. Cox, Mr. McDonald, all the members of the delegation that are here to move forward to the microphone. You can come this way since, there we go. Thank you all for being here. And the resolution reads as follows. Whereas 45 years ago this month, on June 27, 1969, the New York City Police Department raided the Stonewall Inn, a bar in the Greenwich Village neighborhood patronized by members of the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender community. And whereas the Stonewall riots that followed the raid marked the beginning of a modern lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender liberation movement that transformed the oppression of people into calls of pride and action. And whereas the resistance led to the LGBT movement in the United States and worldwide, it also led to the LGBT Pride Month, where governments and citizens alike mark the events of June 1969 and commit to work for equal justice under the law for LGBT Americans. And whereas Dallas County LGBT community, from youth to senior citizens, has the right to feel safe, not to be discriminated against, and to live without the threat of harassment and prosecution. Whereas Dallas County leadership and staff have committed to make an LGBT-friendly county by assigning a full-time Dallas County Sheriff Department LGBT liaison, establishing an LGBT liaison and task force in the Dallas County District Attorney's Office, by ratifying a fully inclusive employee non-discrimination policy, and by establishing equal domestic partner benefits. Dallas County remains the first and only county in Texas to have an equal employment policy and domestic partner health benefits in place. And whereas, on this special occasion, we must bear in mind that while the LGBT community has overcome difficult obstacles, tolerance and acceptance are things that we all must practice and teach to future generations. Now, therefore, be resolved that the Dallas County Commissioners Court does hereby proclaim the month of June 2014 as LGBT Pride Month in Dallas County, and I so move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Commissioner Garcia, Judge Jenkins, Commissioner Daniel, and Commissioner Price. I am here with my colleagues. They can introduce themselves, but on behalf of Resource Center and myself, and as a resident of Dallas County and represented by Commissioner Daniel, we want to thank you for the things mentioned in the proclamation, which are a clear indication of your support and understanding that the LGBT community are contributing members of the overall community, and we are so proud that Dallas County is the county leading the way in Texas. And we come as part of a long legacy from the beginning, even before Stonewall, in which we have had to advocate and educate on behalf of our community. But it's an amazing time to be in the context of what's happening across our own country, and we're grateful for the advances and inclusion that Dallas County is showing. I'm going to turn it over to anyone else that might want to speak.
My name is Elias Cantu, and I wanted to thank the Commissioners Court for proclaiming June as LGBT month, and just wanted to let you all know what it means to the LGBT community, but as well to the Latino community. I am a member of several organizations that represent the Latino community, member of LULAC. I'm also a member of the Cathedral of Hope Latino Congregation, and also Valor Latino, which is a resource center program. And just wanted to, on behalf of the groups and the organizations, just wanted to thank you all for what you all have done today. Thank you.
Bill Gaither. I'm with Trans Pride Initiative, and I also serve on the Ryan White Planning Council of the Dallas area. And I want to thank Dr. Garcia and everyone else on the Planning Council. I mean, on the Dallas County Commissioners for the proclamation. We appreciate it.
My name is Dr. Oliver Bloomer, and I represent the Human Rights Campaign and also Transgender Education Network of Texas. We are in great debt to all of you for doing this for us and representing us as people, human beings, and rightfully so. Thank you.
My name is C.D. Curvin. I represent the group Get Equal and a lead for Get Equal Texas and the African American LGBT community. And I just want to say thank you. I'm glad something is not a fight. Sometimes it always has to be a fight. Oppression is oppression, and all families matter. And I want to thank you and honor you for doing that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'll take a moment of personal privilege on a couple of things. She just said something that bears repeating: all families matter. I think that's a profound statement, and one that we should always keep in mind. The other thing I wanted to take a moment of personal privilege on, and somebody may have done this before I got here. If they did, I apologize. You get recognized twice. Our district clerk elect is in the audience. Felicia.
She's not elect. She's not elect. She's a nominee.
Nominee. I'm sorry. Is there somebody running against you?
Yes.
I apologize to whoever it is that's running against Felicia Petrie, who is in our audience. But a candidate for office is, I guess I shouldn't mention candidates, but I mistakenly thought she was unopposed. No. So hello.
Judge, can I also have a moment of privilege? Also in the audience, I have the new intern for District 4. Her name is Estefania Rodriguez. Miss Estefania, would you please, Stephanie Rodriguez, can you please stand up? She's a junior at Texas A&M University of Commerce with a major and minor, double major political science, Spanish minor, and international studies. Oh, that sounds fantastic, Ms. Rodriguez. And of course, if you look at her resume at this young age, she should run for office one of these days too. You know, she assisted State Representative Robert Nicholas as a staffer in his political campaign, Hispanic Student Association in public relationships, assisted voter registration, you know, in Dallas County, and of course, in 2008, you know, serving in different positions and different Dallas precincts, you know, helping our voting process. So she has been in different organizations as a team captain, raised over $500 towards cancer research, promotional clerk at Univision Television here in Dallas, and it goes on and on and on. So I am very proud to have her as part of our Road and Bridge 4, District 4 internship, you know, during the next summer. So I just wanted you all to meet her, and thank you, Ms. Rodriguez, for applying with us. You will.
I want to take this time to thank Health and Human Services. I don't think we really understand what they really do. We talk about, again, institutional knowledge and what the person does. Just two of us have been around here long enough to know when we merged the health department with the human services department and what that meant. But on Saturday, for Cedar Hill in my district, DeSoto, Duncanville, and Lancaster, we had a public health preparedness exercise in the Southwest region, and staff was there. As you know, we're charged with having to set up those pods in a preparedness emergency. And one thing, whether they're dealing with mosquitoes, whether they're dealing with an Amtrak event, or regardless, staff just seems to always be on the case. And so I want to thank Duncanville High School. That's where we set up the pod on Saturday. And I want to thank Mr. Thompson and all of his staff, his chief nurses. We were all there and went through the exercise. So again, I just want to continue to thank them for just kind of being on the job all the time.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Thompson, for everything you and your department do. I mean, I know that you were asking for volunteers. I assume there were plenty there. Correct. Thank you again.
And
Can I just say
Commissioner
one little
Daniel.
last note, and I also wanted to recognize an intern for Road and Bridge 1, and that is Rodolfo Velasquez. If you would please stand. And Rodolfo came to me, and he wanted to offer his services to Dallas County and Road and Bridge 1. I've had the pleasure of knowing him, I think, since he was born, but he is currently a sophomore at the University of Texas at Dallas studying political science. And like the person sitting next to him, has ideas about, and has done in his past, a number of things to prepare himself for public service. And so I want to very much welcome him. He comes from, and he graduated from, the law magnet in the Dallas Independent School District, where he spent a lot of time in, I think it was the moot court and debate, he ran the debate team, and continues to help the law magnet now, even as he's in college. But we are looking forward to how he can offer his services to Dallas County, just as he has done all of his life, and with his very illustrious parents in their public service lives. So welcome, Rodolfo, to Dallas County also.
Next, we'll consider our consent agenda items. I'll take a motion on items 1 through 7 and 9.
So moved.
Second.
Right, and all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed signify by saying nay. The ayes have it unanimously. Next, we'll take Sheriff's Personnel, item 8. Is there a motion on that?
So moved.
Second.
All right, all those,
Just a second, sorry.
okay.
Bill, while we're waiting, did you recognize Patrice? I had to step out, but
I did not. I did
Not
not.
yet.
We do want to welcome Ms. Patrice Richardson back with Dallas County. Should be
yes, welcome back.
Commissioner Cantrell?
Are done.
There we go. Set.
Excuse me. All right, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Y'all, the sheriff's department now has 1.5 black chiefs.
They have a hat.
They have a half, yeah. The other was not sworn. The other was not sworn, and they don't, I'm still trying to get them to understand the difference between being sworn and not sworn. But you got 1.5. She's making progress. Anyway,
So
yeah.
did you vote yes or no?
I said yay.
Okay.
So we don't have to separate those out.
I didn't know they hear right.
They found black people. You know, I know it's hard, but they found some
Next,
black
we'll
people.
consider orders 1 through 18.
You have to
Motion
get
on
that
order
in.
1 through 18.
So moved.
Second.
All right, second.
Do what now?
Any discussion on court orders 1 through 18? Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next, we have a time-sensitive court order K1.
Hold on. Gotta vote it. Gotta vote it. Gotta vote it.
Is there a motion on K1?
Second.
All right, any discussion on the time-sensitive court order?
Hold on.
Hearing no discussion,
Hold on.
Dr. Daniel?
Okay, she got it. She's got it.
all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries unanimously. Next, we have our briefing session, which consists of items to be considered in a subsequent session. Mr. Martin, will you lead us through our briefing session?
Morning, Judge Commissioners. Item 1 under budget, authorize the county tax assessor to double fill grade O chief deputy position for 4 months effective July 1, 2014. Tax office will use SIT funds for the grade O chief deputy position. Item 2, authorize the sheriff's office to request to submit electronically and by mail the tobacco compliance grant application for local law enforcement agencies. Item 3, authorize the sheriff's office to provide an auto allowance for Assistant Chief Deputy Patrick Bonner effective the first full month of employment in its position. Item 4, Parkland, approve modification number 1 contract with Kano Mail, Inc. to add space to the current lease for the mobile mammography van to operate for a total cost of $838,000.
Mr. Martin, I know this is out of our,
That's fine.
knowledge in the briefing, but are they looking at moving it, or is it going to stay there?
I don't believe they're looking at moving it. Is it? That,
Okay, if you just can ask,
I will check with them.
thank you so much.
Okay. I'll check with them before I bring it back for them.
And this,
Because they're paying a lot more, I mean,
It's,
it's okay, Mr.
we'll check before we bring
Did
it
you
back.
check it? It's just a question that as I was, reviewing it yesterday, it came to mind that it went up quite a bit on
Right.
the lease. I mean, are they planning to keep it there, move it? I understand the patients have been booked, and I know how hard that will be to, change appointments, but, I mean, that question,
Okay.
they're going to leave it there.
and Mr. Martin, before you start back up, because I think we're getting pretty, it's going to be a short court session. We had some young people come in today. Does anyone want to make an announcement where the young people are from? Yeah.
Yeah.
Community college right down here.
Awesome.
We're our starting program. Our quick start is our class.
Great. Well, thank you for coming to commission. Yes, sir. Ms. Mary?
Sherman Beasley, John Molly Price, Windell Central.
All right. Well, alumni right there. There you go. Let's see what's on the back of the video. All right.
Ms. Bisley, I went to El Centro too.
All right. Two alumni right here.
101.
Any Baby Bears in the crowd?
I
No bears.
was Taylor's. What's everything?
And if we could, let me,
Could you stand up so you
Yeah,
can be
please stand
recognized? The government class of El Centro College.
right.
Thank you all for being here.
They said they kicked me out.
Very briefly,
Congratulations.
John says you might have kicked him out, but I don't know if that's true. I think I saw a diploma up there somewhere. What we're doing right now, this is called briefing session. We've already been through our court orders and the things that we're doing for this week. And what Mr. Martin is doing is going through the briefing of things that we'll consider for next week. And so he'll read those relatively quickly, and if any commissioners have a question about the briefing, then they'll stop and be a discussion. After that, we'll hear from public speakers who are allowed to address the court on any topic they choose for 3 minutes. And then after that, we go to closed session. So the court is almost done for today, but Mr. Martin, who's sitting on the end of the table here, will finish the briefing session now. Thanks, guys.
And before that, I'm going to use a segue to talk about Parkland. I want that budget 30 days in advance. Are we going to get?
I had a very lengthy conversation with folks at Parkland, and we're planning a meeting this week, actually, with the leadership at Parkland. I asked them to put me together a schedule for their budget so that we can know exactly when we're going to receive their materials for the budget presentation. They told me they won't have a line item budget until August at some point.
Excuse me?
Yes. So that is why I asked for in writing their outline of their budget schedule, because I think it's important that you guys know their process for putting together that line item budget.
Well, it may be that we don't want to schedule their hearings until we get there.
Exactly.
Well, I
I don't want to waste their time or our time.
Yeah, but I think they use that hearing also to introduce to you guys if they're planning on doing any tax increases or that kind of thing. So
I'm sure they're just going to notify you that there's not going to be a tax increase.
Well, I'll know better this week, Commissioner, if that is the case.
September 31, right?
Well,
There's
the same as ours.
matches ours. And, typically, the way they do their first hearing is kind of a high level, this has been the volume, this is where we stand,
Right.
this is what we plan on doing, and then they dive a little bit deeper
Right.
into the second.
Operationally, we're looking at one, but with the property values going where they went this year,
they should be doing just fine.
well,
I know.
I think they understand.
We do have a leadership team meeting with my leadership team and their leadership team this week, Thursday. And even Dr. Sharice will be at that meeting. So their budget director, my budget director, all of us will be at the table talking this week. So I will probably have additional information to share with you folks next week on the Parkland.
Okay, I'm using budget item number 5 to kind of get into this. But there's a lot of, I could say, I'm not going to say but I really want that schedule and want it tied down.
I will get that schedule definitely for you. Hopefully I'll have it by this Thursday when we meet. If not, I'll have it before your Commissioners Court meeting next week. And if there's an issue with it, I will put it on the agenda for discussion so that you guys can have an opportunity to discuss that schedule, the budget schedule.
As we discussed before with some of the representatives of the Parkland Board and, some of the members of the, administrative staff, it's very important for this court to be ahead of anything they're going to do. And I thought that we had said that pretty much with the schedule to present the budget. So I agree with the comments of my colleagues just said. I don't want to waste their time or our time. We want to be sure that when they come to the Commissioners Court, we all know exactly what's going to happen and where they're going.
Yes.
But then there's also the request, too, that it would be with enough time to be able to have that chance to go over it.
Yes.
It's,
Ryan, I want you to understand, I read all 230 pages of the CMS review. We read that this week. And I've asked them for post and pre CMS because it's my understanding that they are severely over budget. I keep talking about the new hospital, $52 million, and I'm not going to let them forget that. But beyond that, we got some other issues.
You're saying they're over budget, other than just capital?
That's correct.
Operations?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And we want to know exactly where that is.
Yes. And I've asked that question. I've asked that question.
And they said they were going to give it to us.
Well, yeah, but believe me, I generate the emails and I get some.
Well, but again, I mean, it was say in public session as well, so.
At your leadership meeting, that ought to be a question, and
Exactly.
you ought to get that information up front.
I just whispered to Ryan, we'll have that on our agenda for our meeting on Thursday. And if there's anything else that you guys would like us to discuss. If you shoot me some emails about any other topics, I will make sure I publish that agenda and get it to you for our in-house meeting, so you'll know what we're talking about this Thursday.
So, and since you're doing, I keyed in lazily on CMS, you might as well hit CIA.
Service
Well,
improvement.
yeah, you might as well hit CIA, because that's 5 years, and that's, CMS is kind of what they're supposedly done and not done, and the emails that I'm getting kind of in response, and I'm not really satisfied with, so anyway.
Well, the service improvement plan assessment, is going to take longer than CMS, and, we want to know how long and how much it's going to cost as well.
CIA is 5 years.
I know.
CIA is 5
Service
years.
improvement assessment, yeah.
Okay.
No, that's a corporate integrity agreement.
Oh, it's always is, eh?
Okay. We'll get that agenda published to you folks before this Thursday.
Okay.
Item 5 is approved modification number 2 for a 2-year lease renewal for Baylor Research Institute at 3310 Live Oak Street, Suite 401.
Commissioners, if we could go back to the prior item, which was the mobile mammoth grant. I had said, Zach, actually, that is a Parkland vehicle, though I think that it is kind of used in concert with some of the things maybe you're doing. But it's a $600 increase per month. It's not, it's, and it's taking up parking spots. That's what the charge is. So it goes out when they're scheduled to go out, but when it's not scheduled to go out, it's parked at this location.
Where is it located? I just saw
I can get you the exact address. This just has the vendor.
because it's been there for a while. I mean,
Well, I think it's one of those that they purchased it, and originally there was no increase in the rent, but then once the owner of the land property realized they were losing parking spots on a regular basis, they came back and asked for an amendment to the contract. But I can get you the usage in where it's permanently stored.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Yeah?
Health and Human Services, item 6, approve the University of Texas at Austin School of Nursing agreement. Item 7, approve agreement with the University of Texas Southwest Medical Center at Dallas. Human Resources, item number 8, recommends approval of the proposed updated policy for media inclusion in Dallas County Code, sections 82601 through 82607 pertaining to FMLA and the new internship policy. Item 9, recommends approval of the estimated cost of $4,100 for the transferring and storing of Dallas County workers' compensation files to the Dallas County Records Division. Juvenile, item 10, recommends approving the Youth Service Advisory Board recommendation of up to $9,900 for the Community Service Restitution Program. Planning and Development, item 11, recommend that the county provide Kraft Foods with a 60% 5-year abatement on real and business personal property for the expansion of its Garland facility effective no later than January 1, 2016.
That's in your district? Your
Yes, sir.
district? I'll be voting no. I saw their PEO 1, and they've been there all this time, and
It's a very small facility compared to the overall deal.
well, they get, they sent I got a pretty voluminous,
They've got the main deal, but the one in Garland.
So is there any way, Rick, to call? Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Based on what I just saw in the EEO 1, is there any way to call that facility so that I know, based on, we're giving it for that facility, and I got.
You're correct. The one that you have is for their North American operations. I'll ask to see if they can give us a breakdown of the facility there on Forest Lane.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr.
I'd
Lee.
like to see it. Thank you.
But what they're requesting appears to be a good deal. They're expanding with an increase in personnel and jobs, which is important for Garland, so I appreciate that piece of it.
We definitely need it.
Yeah, no, I got it, but if I'm following that trajectory, I don't know what they've been doing,
Well, let's get the specific information for this location then.
We'll get that out to you.
Thank you very much.
Public Works, item 12, authorize approval of the Third Amendment to the Dallas County Consulting Engineering Contract and award of work order number 2 to ARS Engineers in an amount not to exceed $15,000, and that's for the Medical District Drive MCIP. Item 13, accept the offer from James Cagle for $20,000 to purchase a tax foreclosure property at 919 Avenue C in Duncanville. Item 14, accept the attached Lancaster City Council resolution number 2014-0434, authorizing the County of Dallas to act as trustee to offer for sale by public or private sale the properties identified therein acquired by tax foreclosure. Item 15, consent to the sale of property at 3021 Rilla Drive in Garland, Texas to Green Extreme Homes for $23,000. Item 16, authorize the award of work order number 4 to Criado and Associates, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $259,000. That's to be paid out of MCIP Fund 196. Item 17, authorize execution of attached master interlocal agreement between Dallas County and the city pertaining to transportation-related maintenance on or about certain designated roadways within Road and Bridge District 3 in the city of Ovilla, Texas. Item 18, authorize the county judge to execute the attached project-specific agreement between Dallas County and the city of Seagoville, Texas, Road and Bridge District 3, pertaining to Type B transportation-related maintenance consisting of reconstruction of Farmers Road and Simon's Road.
Bill, on the addendum, I noticed Judge Burns is here. Could we move that up?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
So that he can get
In the
back over
interest
to
of
his deal.
We do have an addendum, item 24, discussion of jail chains for Dallas County Criminal District Courts. I think I sent out an email to the court members which precipitated this item getting to the agenda on Thursday or Friday of last week. You should have received that. And this time, I'll turn it over to Commissioner Price, who had asked that we...
Well, Judge Barron, if you want to come forward. Unfortunately, this is not the first case. You know, and if one person is derived of their liberties and freedom, then you know, all of us are derived of liberty and freedom. And this is not the first time in this court that we've had this issue. And when I track the emails on this particular case, regardless of what was done, the individual should have been gone at least in March, April, May, and still here.
Good morning, Commissioner. I just wanted to be available. I saw that this item was on the...
Well, it's on because it's not the first time I've...
be available
Okay.
to answer questions.
And I didn't presume that, I just, if you were here to speak on this, I mean, you need to probably get back to your docket, so.
Well,
give you
we
an
didn't have a
opportunity.
trial this week, and so I'm available to come over, and I thought I would come over and be available, good morning, Judge, be available to answer any questions that you might have. I don't have any particular information about that particular case, except that it does seem like the person had been in jail a little bit longer than...
But just for the record, this is not your court.
It's not my court.
Oh, no. No. I said, that's what I said, too. I mean, no.
Yeah, it's a different court, and, you know, I'm...
But it's not, and the reason I'm putting on, it's not the first time.
No, it's not the first time.
Okay. And at some point in time, and I know as the administrative judge, you're probably limited.
Right.
But I continue to have, we continue to have issues with regards to that court.
Well, I honestly, I can't even tell you which court that is. I didn't look at the details of that case. I didn't look at the details of any particular court, and I'm not here to criticize any other judge. I mean, like you say, I do have limited abilities. Each judge is kind of the king of their own court. But while we're on the topic of jail chains, I had an idea. I mentioned this to Ryan, speaking to him last week, about, given that each judge is the king of his court and that there's a lot of different components that come into play in affecting the jail chain. I mean, it's not just the judge. It can be you could have a prosecutor in that court who isn't interested in moving the docket. You could have lawyers that aren't interested in moving the docket. There's different factors that can come into play. I mean, I've been fortunate in having...
You haven't had that issue. That's not, and you deal with the same lawyers. You deal with similar prosecutors. You know, we've been able to manage that whole prosecution deal in terms of reporting who's doing what. You haven't had that project, and maybe you're not the right one to speak on.
But he does have a suggestion, maybe.
Well, a suggestion that I wanted to make that I ran by Ryan briefly was the idea of bringing in an outside consultant to look at our different systems. You know, there's a lot of different things that come into play that affect jail chains. It's not just the court. It can be, in any particular case, it might be a sheriff issue, a DA issue, a PD issue.
No.
Yeah.
No.
It can be.
Judge, we're there every week. We're there every week managing. And again, I appreciate you being here. Maybe you're the person they send as the point person because you, as the administrative judge, you're not having those issues. You got the same sheriff's department. You got the same DA's office. You got basically the same defense attorneys. You're not having those issues. And you continuously are the number one court in this.
I didn't, well, I appreciate it.
Well, I don't appreciate it. That's not.
I came here to try to figure out some solutions.
How do we model all the other courts like yours is my question.
Well,
We win the lottery at the same
Judge
time.
Burns, one thing that here's a suggestion from me that I noticed. You've got some really good protocols, as do some other judges, but you lack local rules, and I realize it's difficult to get consensus on that, but is there any chance you could put together a work group and get those?
Well, we do have some local rules, but if we brought in an outside person to come look at the different systems that we have in place and make recommendations, it might be easier to get buy-in from the other courts about how to set up some more, how to change our local rules. That's
Like a retired judge or something?
Well, or a consultant.
That understands the criminal justice system and how the ebb and flow of it.
Anyway, I'll write something up and I'll send it to you. And
Again, I can appreciate all of that. The problem is, there are certain courts that we continue to have the same problem. People are staying in jail long after their cases are disposed of, or should have been disposed of. Longer after we're driving recommendations, that the people are putting them forward. And this has come up again. You know, I appreciate you proffering, for the system, but I mean, let's just call it what it is. We got some judges, we got some issues.
We would appreciate,
it's
too,
different courts. There's different things going on in different courts.
Mr. Monroe.
So.
Yeah, I got all of that.
Thank you very much for your efforts in
Well, let me ask you just a procedural question. If someone that is in jail for an extended period of time, that perhaps is longer than what most would think reasonable, and they're appointed either a PD or they have their own counsel, why aren't they doing a writ of habeas corpus or something? There's got to be a procedure in place, no matter what court it's in, to be able to move that case.
But don't put the PD in there. PD has not had one case.
If the court is not moving the case,
I got it.
Then the PD ought to be able to file a writ. Wouldn't that go to the Court of Appeals?
Well, I guess it depends on the circumstance.
So I'm just asking procedurally, what would be the process?
It depends. I mean, it really does depend. That's a lawyerly answer, but
Right.
it just depends on the particular circumstance.
But it looks like there'd be some type of mechanism whereby even the individual that's not represented ought to be able to file some kind
Again,
of...
there's different cases, there's different circumstances. Sometimes that person who's in jail might really want to be in our jail versus in
state jail,
where there's not air conditioning or something. I mean, there's just
But this is a
different
person
things.
that could be released. This person not going to state jail. This is a person that should have been released.
Well, again, it depends. They may have
No,
holdings for
no,
TDC.
I'm following the case.
It doesn't depend on the case. Have you seen the case he's talking about?
No, I'm sorry, I haven't.
You've seen the case. I sent the case over to you. You haven't. Should this person have been released?
Well, from our jail or from TDC?
From our jail.
The person have, oh, yeah.
From our jail, 100 days ago. The person should have been gone on. And this is not the first case. We had a case probably less than a year ago. Same
But
thing.
Commissioner, if they had an attorney or a PD, there has to be a mechanism that they can file a writ to get them out of there. There has to be.
Well,
Why would a lawyer...
Maybe the lawyer's not moving the case. It just depends.
Why would the lawyer not move the case? That's what
Depends on the
struck...
particular circumstance. Maybe they haven't gotten paid.
Well,
I don't know.
and I think it's not fair for
That's not it, yeah.
There's, each case, there's so many different factors at play. There's really, I don't know if it's productive for y'all's time for us to talk about it, but I'll write something up about a proposal about maybe getting some outside person to come in and maybe we can make some systemic changes to make things move.
Yeah, that's fine. The last case, I'm talking about somebody who was being detained 100 days beyond when they should have been released. The last case was about 180 days beyond when they should have been released. That came up during campaigns.
Well, but those two individual cases, we ought to be able to get the factual situation, and then we ought to be able to look and see why that individual, if there's extenuating circumstances, great, but if there's not, then something ought to be put in place to keep that from happening.
I hear you.
Commissioners, it's called the coordinator. The coordinator is supposed to keep the list. Judge Burns' coordinator keeps the list and she works it. That's what it is.
I've said that. I've said that a million times, and I just...
You guys just came to a step increase, and you ought to have some sort of standards. They need to be keeping track of that jail check.
Well,
Judge,
again,
coordinator does that.
I don't know that's productive to talk about it in that circumstance.
Because we keep having the same problem. They're our constituents. We keep having the same problem out of the same court, Judge. That's all I'm saying.
And there is no excuse for someone to stay longer than it should be.
I understand.
However, since this is a recurring problem, I don't think it's fair for Judge Burns to be here talking about a case he hasn't even reviewed. But with that being said, I totally follow Commissioner Cantrell. We need to do something. Judge, I'm ready to hear or read what your idea is to put some kind of assessment on the coordinators, like Mr. Fitzsimmons just said, to be able to avoid that this happens as often as it's happening.
Yeah, I want to see things improve, and I'll write something up, and I'll send it.
We can scream here all day long.
Thank you very much, Judge.
But it ain't the first time some of us are screaming because we've got constituents that...
And Commissioner, with all due respect, I totally appreciate and understand what you're saying, but unless we do something, we will come back over and over and over again, because the coordinators and the judges, I mean, it's not fair that, the kingdom does whatever the kingdom wants. When we are...
It's called election, unfortunately.
Whatever it's called, it's not fair for the person that has to stand in jail, and it's not fair for the people that are here.
Mr. Morrell, I pushed this back over to you once I got the call that this person should have been out of jail over 100 days ago. This is not the first one. It's not the first one out of this court. Now, with regards to this case, based on everything, should this person have been released?
Wait, I do not believe that it's appropriate to discuss specific issues related to whether or not somebody should or should not be released. If all the facts have not been developed at this point, potentially you are exposing the county to liability.
I understand that, and that's the way we're exposed to liability because someone has dropped the ball.
Okay, then that would be a discussion that possibly we should have in executive session related to...
It's not posted for executive session.
I understand.
We're not posted it for public session.
Respectfully, I would ask Mr. Monroe to not discuss specifics related to a claim as the counsel for the county.
If we have an agenda item that's posted in public session, we can take that into closed.
Yes, sir, you can.
Okay.
We can go
We can
ahead
take
and
that
give
into closed.
notice that we want to have a discussion with regard to a specific claim that might come out of this in executive session.
What section, Teresa?
Another more appropriate venue.
Which section, Ms. Nelson, will we?
Pending claims,
Pending
deliberations with an attorney, and let me give you the specific number.
The judge would just announce that we'll bring this item under close, under deliberations with attorney.
When? Today?
Certainly do that
It has to be
today.
today because it's posted in public session today.
That would be great.
Yes.
Mr. Monroe, in closed session.
And Ms. Nelson will look up the language that judge can read it into the record. The item will bring to close under that.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the language of that.
Item 20 on your briefing agenda, authorize execution of attached work order number 4 with Urban Engineers Group for professional services associated with the preliminary design phase of the Coombs Creek connection being constructed as part of the ongoing horseshoe design bill for Coombs Creek multimodal pathway connection to IH-30 bike ped. Item 22, purchasing, authorize the second 12-month extension RFQ for level 1 IT help desk service provider is awarded to DFW Technology for the
Did
period
we
October
skip
1.
21, Mr. Martin?
21. Yes, we did. Authorize an exemption to the competitive procurement requirements as allowed by local government code in the amount of $142,000 for the installation of a heat exchanger at the George Allen Courts building, which is very necessary.
And let me ask you something about this.
Yes.
I know that we're exempting from competitive procurement because of the age of the generator. The briefing is very specific and good about it. But how old is this generator? Is this the same one we repaired already before?
This is actually, this is a replacement one that we're renting until we go out to bid to get a permanent one at that location.
Okay.
Yeah, we just,
Second time we need to go out to bid.
We've got the bid.
The second time?
Yes, and that's, the need for the second time is the reason we have the need for the exemption request. We went out for bid the first time, and we only received one bid, and really had to actually, we had to extend it to even get that one bid. We've made, facilities is making some minor modifications to that to hopefully open it up so that we get some better options for that location. If everything had gone well, this would have been under $50,000. It didn't go well, so it's gone over $50,000.
And it's how old is this generator now? Is it the new one?
At George Allen, no, it's an older, do you know how old the generator is?
40?
Oh, gosh,
Yeah, at least.
surprise.
It's got to be replaced.
Surprise there.
At
Okay.
least.
Hi.
At least.
Goodness gracious, almost our age.
And we
Okay.
obviously have to have a generator there because of the life safety
Yeah.
functions of the building to have
It's
it.
just a one.
Say no more, Ms.
It's-
Brown.
it's a
Let's
one.
move on. Hopefully this time,
Hopefully, we'll get more bids this time, and that'll be able to have us make some better decisions about what's going on.
unbelievable that we keep repairing something that is 40 years old. Amen. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Moore.
Item 23, authorize payment in the amount of $8,000 to CCS Consulting for successful transition services in November, December 2013 related to the request for proposals for third-party claims administration services for Dallas County Self-Insurance Workers' Compensation. Mr. Brown has one bring-up.
Judge and Commissioners, we have the bid from Schneider Electric to do the upgrade to the lighting at 2121 Panoramic Circle. The total cost on that was going to be $386,136. It does have an estimated savings of $33,181 per year. It's a little longer than the 10 years I like to see, but in this particular case, it has an 11.5-year payback. But there's a lot of work here would have had to be done anyways without an electricity payback. So we're just going to fold it in and go ahead and do that.
That's not 11 and a half years.
Yeah, it's $380,000 and it's $33,000 a year in savings, so it's about 11 and a half years. But as I said, a lot of the cost here we would have had to do regardless if we didn't roll this part in, so.
Yeah, so
I want to see that spread on that.
This is just the electrical lighting there. There's additional work that they're also preparing for, though we need to I need some time to spend on that one.
if we did just minimal with old technology lighting, we'd be at a couple $100,000, right?
Correct. I mean, this has to be done. I didn't want it to, but we want to do it under the energy contract. I just wanted to explain why it was longer than 11 and a half years. It'll come out of 196 where the savings will occur. We'll just move money to the project.
There's nothing up there. You got to put something up there.
Judge, that concludes your briefing agenda. You have 3 speakers listed.
All right. Will the bailiff please read the rules of decorum for the speakers?
All commissioner court attendees are hereby advised that this is a meeting conducted in accordance with the provisions of Dallas County Code, Section 74-71. Visitors and registered speakers are to preserve order and decorum at all times. Personal, profane, or slanderous remarks are not appropriate and will not be allowed at any time during this public meeting. Any and all applause is to be kept brief in observance of time constraints. Disruptive visitors and/or registered speakers may be removed and are subject to the penalties provided in the State of Texas Penal Code Sections 38.13, 42.01, and 42.05. Registered individual speakers are limited to a maximum of 2 minutes, and the maximum discussion on any one topic is limited to 30 minutes.
And before we get to the first public speaker, let me finish one thought that I just had in listening to the thing about the lights. When we're talking about either new, like we are in this situation, an old building that we got to put some lights in anyway, wouldn't it be better for us to compare like the cost of the low dollar lights that we'd have to do to get our green tag that we'd have to put out vis-a-vis the ones that would save energy that would give us the true savings, and then wouldn't our payback be the delta between those two things? Because to get a green tag and to have lights in the building, we got to put something up there. So maybe I know we look at it that way, because it's different than if we had functioning lights, like in this room, we're going to tear all these lights out and put them in there. But anyway, a thought on that. Our first speaker is Ms. Dolores Phillips.
I do have handouts for you. It's 5 pages. My name is Dolores Phillips. Thank you, Honorable Judge Clay Jenkins and Commissioners, for having me. I would like to say that being battled by the oneness of white supremacy of the South doesn't feel good. And I can see the faces of some of you when Commissioner Price or others stand before you and speak of racism as though you're tired of it. The people who are targeted by racism is tired of it. And I need you to understand that right now, though it took a while, this massive conspiracy and cover-up of Dallas Police Department, assisted by the Federal Bureau of Investigation of the Alter 911 call, is being slowly unraveled. And the only reason it took this long is because I'm a minority. Now, the brilliantly cynical truth of how you cover that up is you unleash all these different entities, the oneness, the forced homosexuality codes. And you do all this while taking limelight away from the truth of the corruption that's going on at Dallas Police Department. Mind you, Chief David Brown, inherited the corruption. So what I'm trying to humbly share with you is racism exists like never before. Our government is lawfully suppressing the votes of minorities. That's racism. Our government has banned affirmative action to say that racism does not exist. That's racism. So I want to humbly say to you, in the utmost of humility, when Donald Sterling said that blacks were nothing in his private conversation, that was his right. It doesn't take Donald Sterling to validate my dignity. I'm happy to be me, and nothing is going to change that. And I would also like to add to all the ladies who work for the government, be it Dallas County, city, who's used to be sex bait for this oneness cult, and you know exactly what I'm talking about, and I'm speaking for our children, because our children should have the opportunity to live and be in whom they choose to be and experience life for what it is. So when I say that I'm being battled by the oneness cult to buy into the opening to get the key, if I just only engage with a female for a second, that's totally unfathomable, it's unconscionable, and I find it unlawfully annoying. And it's many here know exactly what I'm talking about. And the same entity that ruthlessly target me to engage in homosexuality are targeting our children. I find that to be unpatriotic and un-American. And yes, it is happening, and you need to get a committee to teach our children all around Dallas that you don't have to be afraid to speak to your parents, to let them know that you're being bullied for any reason. Your weight, your age, your race, being bullied into forced homosexuality. You need to remind your children, because the same entities battling me, talking about I'm going to buy into this oneness cult by engaging in homosexuality, LGBT, I love them to death. Might have to have one to bring me a drink of water. But as far as engaging in a female, it'll never happen. So please stop harassing me with females.
Thank you, Ms. Phillips. You're out of time. Our next speaker is Mr. Richard Sheridan.
Good morning, Judge. Rich Sheridan, 11301 Dennis Road, Dallas, Texas. I'm here to speak about a new Buckminster Fuller Dallas County homeless program, going from racism, greed, and fear, the existing program, replaced by love. Quote, you never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. Buckminster Fuller. Mr. Fuller was an American genius, an author, designer, professor, philosopher, and futurist. In his final years, he's focused on practical, low-cost, self-sufficient human shelters. His best-known work is the geodesic dome, and his best-known expressions were spaceship, Earth, and synergistic. Mr. Fuller dedicated his life to using science to improve the human condition. What is the truth about Dallas's homeless condition? In my opinion, I think there's many others that are growing to understand this. The City of Dallas homeless program is a virtual failure, and we need a new model, a new program. Here are just some problems which are coming to light. Dallas Housing Department has been disgraced, and even the Dallas Morning News recently called for major improvements. MDHA, the Metropolitan Dallas Homeless Atrocity, underreports homeless numbers by about 1/3 of the true count, so Dallas can look good in the care from the homeless. Some homeless service providers are making millions with permanent supportive housing projects where the need for shelter is today. The need for basic shelter is now. And by the way, the need for jobs for able-bodied is today. 25% of our homeless are veterans. And we are being reminded again with our VA hospital scandal what our governments really think of either disabled or homeless veterans. As MDHA cooked the books to look good, so did the VA hospitals. There was an article recently quoting a city council member who says Dallas is the homeless capital of the world, you'll be getting this later, and should bust them out of town. This city council member said, I think the program needs to be suspended, put on hold. The whole $6 million per year thing. He's talking about $6 million a year being wasted on the homeless. How much money is the county spending on the homeless in the jail and the health care costs, and also the other county hospitals in Dallas? 100 million? 150 million? Again, what is the truth today? If we don't know what the truth is, we can't solve the problem, can we? Dallas County not only has the most experience in caring for the homeless, it also spends the most money in the jail and health care costs. In addition to the county costs, every hospital in Dallas County bears the homeless health care costs. If it's true that the combined county homeless jail and health care costs is in the range of $150 annually, doesn't it make economic sense to spend 1/3 to 1/2 of that money and provide them with humanitarian care, and they won't get sick half as much? It comes down to love. What is love? We are withholding our love from our homeless and from our fellow man, and that's why we're in the mess we're in. If we allow the love flow from God to our fellow man, we'll be in a lot better shape. Dallas might even become a healthcare spa along with a great Trinity River project. So I appreciate being here, and God bless you for what you do. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And our last speaker is Pastor Randolph Shaheed.
Good morning. My name is R.U. Shaheed, Apostle R.U. Shaheed. I'm founder and president of Ex-Offenders of America Alumni Association. I am so humble and feel so good to be able to speak before this fine panel. First of all, as an ex-murderer, after knowing what it's like to spend time on death row, after knowing what it's like to be incarcerated almost 20 years, after knowing what it's like to be out of incarceration for 30 years, reporting every month, once a month for 30 years, after living in a city such as Dallas, being a homeowner, not being able to vote, after being out here for 30 years, seeing that the problems that exist, not only in Dallas, but every city in the United States of America. We have professional men, just like myself. All of these Fortune 500 buildings that are in Dallas, I had to sign on them because I got my degree in engineering while I was incarcerated, and I brought it out here. What we have to do to be able to eradicate all of the homelessness, all of the crime, all of the gang and drug activities is to get people like myself who was reformed and come out and be an example if they could only receive an opportunity to give back. Do we want to give back, or do we want to use what we're not giving back as a means by which we can ascertain more funds and more money for programs that are not working? We talk about God all the time. When are we going to stand up and do what the Bible and the Scripture is teaching us? It's time for us to stop being little people and little children. It's time to be men and women of God standing up bold and looking at a problem and saying, let those that can eradicate the problem. Let's save the city some money. Let's save the county some money. You have countless of acres of land that is laying dormant in the county of Dallas, as all over the United States of America. And you have thousands of professionals that knows how to work land and make it productive, and they don't even get paid for it inside that penitentiary. You have men and women that knows how to work cattle. How about bringing those people out that you say can't get jobs, put them in a position to bring revenue to the city, to the county, to the United States of America? How about to Texas? Stop spending money and use the money to help the quality of life. We're people. We may have done wrong, but guess what? All we want is an opportunity to do right. Give XOAAA an opportunity. Give the homeless an opportunity. Thank you so very much for your time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. All right, and that concludes our public speakers. We'll adjourn to consider items under Chapter 551 of the Government Code, including the matter that was on our open session regarding the criminal court system. Any action that is needed as a result of closed session. Oh, okay. He's saying it's specific to one court, the 282nd. However, it was on our number two, item 24 on our open agenda.
And that is Section 551071 of the Open Meetings Act.
Right. And if any action is needed as a result of that, then that will take place in an open session for the public to see. That will begin in approximately 3 minutes. I'm sure I'm fine with it. No action necessary as per the closed session. The court stands adjourned. Oh, she's not here. Oh, yeah, you are. I didn't see you back there. Quiet as a church mouse. Did you get that?
I thought y'all was going to be in there for a while.